What is going on, guys? My name is Lextasy and welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for joining again for another awesome epic video where we are literally dropping tons of money, thousands of dollars into this 2018 Ford F-150 V8 with a 10-speed transmission, and now it's a Whipple stage 1 on it. So it's running about 600 wheels, 700 horsepower, putting down really good numbers, but not the numbers we are wanting or really expecting already. So because of that, in this video we are dropping this beauty off to get a lowering kit done. It's going to be a VAS 35 kit. It's going to be completely looking different by the time we pick it up, and they're doing some other stuff as well, which I'm going to reveal in this video. So for the new people that are just joining, we are trying to build this truck, and we will build this truck to 1,000 horsepower, and later on we're going to be hitting the 8 seconds in the quarter mile. We're not stopping. This is a start of something amazing for this season. So without further ado, guys, let's get this video going. So in this video, we are dropping the truck off to have a VAS 35 kit put on this thing. So what that means is pretty much there's going to be a 3-inch drop in the front and a 5-inch drop in the rear. It already has a leveling kit on it, so that will be taken off. So I just kind of want to show you guys how it sits, how it looks, just stock, just as the way it comes from factory minus the leveling kit in the rear. But this sucker is going to be sitting a lot lower, which we need for better traction, for better handling. As you can tell, everything is completely stock under here. I don't know if I could get a really good view. They are going to be installing traction bars as well, so everything's going to look completely different once we pick up this truck, and I am extremely excited. Like, I've never messed with suspension. I don't know anything about suspension, so I'm going to be learning a lot as we build this truck. There's going to be Viking coilovers put on here, Bilstein shocks. It's all getting redone. Like, this kit alone costs a lot of money, but it's needed to be done. It really is. So I'm freezing my butt off, so let's hop in the truck. Let's go to Wheel City Motors and let's see what kind of stuff they work on out there, and drop off the truck and get it back. All right, guys, and we are back. The truck is done, and I cannot stop freaking smiling. It looks so freaking good, completely different now. And I want to show you the picture with the beadlocks on as well. We had to put the regular tires on because you can tell it was raining recently, and I got a 100-mile drive to drop it off at the performance shop. But anyways, guys, Wheel City tires and alignment, these guys are freaking the best. I mean, their whole parking lot is full of nothing but trucks. They're doing lift kits, lowering kits. They do it all, guys. So if you're in Asheville, the surrounding area, give these guys a shout. Like, seriously, it is worth the money. They were asking me questions I had no idea about. I didn't even know how to answer, but let me just show you guys a really quick sneak peek of the truck, and then we're gonna go do on the full reveal and drive it and see what it actually drives like. But look at this bad boy. Look how low it's freaking sitting, guys. Oh, and the beadlocks and everything is mounted on the tires. That is a beautiful and sexy setup as well. There is some major issues with this suspension kit, turns out. So we were on the phone back and forth for a whole day yesterday trying to fix the stuff, and we are gonna have to address some things before it goes to the track, or else we're gonna destroy the suspension in this truck, guys. But I am so excited. I mean, look at this. This sucker looks so freaking low. Yeah, we had to take the steps off because it would have been scraping on the ground, guys. But let's go ahead and do an actual reveal, an actual drive on this truck, and see how it drives like. But like I said, guys, Wheel City Wheel and Tire and Alignment, these guys are the best. I will post a link down below for them. Jeff took amazing care of me, guys, so give them a shout out and stop by and let them work on your truck, guys. They know exactly what they're doing, I promise you. But all right, guys, dude, this is such a weird feeling, and I can see why my wife is calling it the midget truck, but look how freaking low it is to the ground. Like, seriously, I don't think you understand. Like, literally, it is on the same level as a sedan. Like, getting in and out is so easy now. Like, I'm getting out of the truck, and I feel like I have to step down like 2 feet like I'm used to with the steps and all, but it's just such a weird feeling. Like, there's no up and down movement anymore. It's just so crazy. Like, I cannot believe we're doing this to our truck, and it looks so freaking sick and amazing. Like, I can't stop talking about it. I really can't. I know it's kind of like, man, you're literally defeating the purpose of a truck, but you guys know what we're going to do with it. We're literally going to be pushing 1,000 horsepower. So this truck needs to be as low to the ground as possible. That way it's not top heavy. That way whenever we take off, there is no issues. I don't know if I can really show you exactly what's been done to it because it's kind of hard to see. We do have shocks up front that's been replaced. You can't really see in there. I think it's got Viking shocks, if I'm not mistaken, or Bilstein shocks, I'm sorry. And then you got I'm sorry, it's Viking coilovers in the front, and then Bilstein shocks in the rear. And of course you will have the traction bar all the way underneath here now, so we won't have any sort of issue when it comes to hooking. And of course the main encore, some main entree of the event is these Weld Ventura 6s, square setup of 17 by 10. And of course you got beadlocks in the rear because, well, it is going to be putting a lot more power, and I don't want any kind of slippage. Not that that's ever really should happen or will happen, but we're just gonna play it safe, so why not do that? And I've got some Mickey Thompson's 305 45 17, so some fat tire on there. And you know what, I'm gonna post a picture, so take a look at this freaking picture that they sent me. So this is what Wheel City Tire and Alignment sent me. So they actually put them on to do alignment, and then you can see exactly how the sucker looks. It is so freaking sexy. Like, I cannot wait to mount them. Now again, guys, I have to say it, like, I know I'm just saying the thing over and over again, again, but you have to go to Wheel City. These guys know exactly what they're talking about, because this truck does have some suspension issues, things that I did not know about, even though I was purchasing from legitimate companies, and they're great companies, so I'm not going to bash them. I'm not going to say anything negative or really even call their names out. So the thing that went wrong, kind of sort of, but can be easily fixed, is I was told that these Ventura 6s square setup 17x10s will have no issue going in the front and the rear axles. Like, there's going to be no kind of rubbing or anything like that, which is actually false, because in the front of these, especially the 4x4 F150s, for anyone watching this, you will be rubbing if you're doing 17x10s. It's literally touching the knuckle. It's like millimeters, so you have to put a minimum of 10mm spacer on the wheel itself or on the hub in order to have no rubbing whatsoever. So keep that in mind if you're doing this, because it is important. You don't want that rubbing. We're thinking about shaving the knuckle, but that's actually unsafe, and we don't want to have issues with that. So we did order some 10mm spacings to fix that issue, but as of now, we are rolling with the stock wheels and tires anyways, because we are having a long trip ahead of us for Charlotte to drop off this truck tomorrow. So that's why we had to get this done today. The second issue, and it's kind of very, very important. I hope you guys are listening. For anybody with a 2018 F150 that is doing a 3.5 VAS lowering kit, actually any of the lowering kits, you are going to have alignment issues. This is actually pretty serious and pretty bad, but there's nothing that can be done. So if you bought a 3.5 lowering kit, you will have an issue when it comes to camber and caster. So with the stock kit that they sent, you cannot get this fixed. So we're almost 3 degrees off on the camber, and caster's off almost 6 degrees. And the problem that's happening, or what's causing this, is that you have coilovers in the front, Viking coilovers, and the way the spring is working, it's so stretched out that the wheel, not only is it sitting camber wise, but caster as well, because you're just stretching it out so far to do this lowering kit. Correct me if I'm wrong, but that's what's happening there. So you need to get an upper control arm. There is a replacement. It's pretty much a correction one. I will post a link to it as well, and to the spacer where I bought it from. Great companies, but you need to do, I think it's called IHC or IHS for the upper control arm, but you need to do it, and it fixes from 3 to 5 inches lowering on the F150. So specifically designed for this issue. And shout out to Miguel at Midnight Performance for getting me in and let me know about that, because we didn't know what to do, because with such bad alignment with camber and caster, literally the front tires, and these are brand new Goodyear Wranglers, will wear out in a few hundred miles because of how rough it is going to be on them. So it has to be fixed. I'm not even going to mention the Mickey Thompsons. They're going to be completely destroyed. So that's why we're going to get it fixed. Like I said, this is going to the shop right now after this video. It's going to be 1,000 horsepower when we get it back, and then when it comes back, of course, we will get the suspension completely dialed in and fixed to make sure everything is right. It takes about 2 or 3 hours to do an alignment with the upper control arm replacement to make sure everything's dead spot on. But let's hop in the truck real quick, guys, and see how it drives. I drove it here, but I want you guys to kind of experience it with me and see what you think. So let's hop in real quick. Alrighty, guys, so we do have it on the road now. We are driving down a main road, I would say, doing about 50 miles an hour, and quite honestly, this sucker handles so well now. Not that it didn't do very well before, but like, it just feels a lot more planted. I'm actually on the level almost of like just a regular, like a subcompact SUV slash bigger sedans. So it definitely doesn't ride up high like it used to, for a good reason. I mean, that's just a no-brainer. We did do a 3-inch drop in the front and then 5 in the back, but like, I'm going over these bumps right now, and it's not bad. Like, that coilover's in the front, and then the rear suspension shocks and everything is still doing very well. What they did with the flip kit is, of course, my springs are still the same length, I guess you can say. They're just kind of been dropped a little bit. So quite honestly, the driving is just as good. It did not change. I mean, getting on it, I love that supercharger, but it just feels very planted. It's a lot more responsive, which is good. I can't complain, guys. It literally didn't change anything about the way the suspension feels. In fact, it's going to help us at the Dragstrip because of the traction bars that we had installed. Because if you're thinking about it, whenever you're putting so much power to the rear wheel, even though it's a 4x4, a lot of it is going to the rear wheel. So whenever you got that diff and the drive shaft, whenever that tires are taking off and hooking, it's really torquing the drive shaft angle with the differential. So with the traction bars, it's actually keeping the diff level, so it's not really putting out a really big strain, which is helping us quite a bit, especially when we do takeoffs and things like that. And it really does help with suspension. So whenever you watch the videos of trucks taking off, you can see the rear really sag. It should not be really happening with this anymore. So that is a good thing. Another thing to point out, of course, and we did talk about it, but whenever we're doing this setup, like I said, guys, there is going to be an issue. You will need to get a minimum of 10mm spacers in the front. So in order for them to do the fitment at Wheel City Tire and Alignment, they had to work a little bit outside the box. So they did 2 or pretty much double spacers to see how it would work whenever it comes to, you know, the fitment, make sure there's nothing was rubbing on the knuckle. And it was working well because they had to do alignment, so they needed to have the radials on there to make sure everything fits correct. So a little like you know, I guess a patch job was for us to put these on while we had the radials to make sure everything was good. Now, whenever you're doing this, guys, make sure that you are getting a full billet or whatever it is, the actual like a full 10mm one piece, because as you can tell, this one has got a lot of different holes that we don't need, because this is a 6 lug nut pattern, but there's a lot more holes in here because it's universal. So what it means is whenever you put 2 of these together, it will actually spin with the lug nut and it will cause vibration. Now luckily with the standard stock tires that this came with, it's a 17x7, I think 7-inch wide, so it's not rubbing, so we don't need spacers. But if I was to have the radials on here and I was doing any sort of roll racing, it would be somewhat, to a point I would say personally, dangerous, and I wouldn't want to have that much movement in between the wheels, especially if you're hooking and things are shifting around. So definitely get a full minimum 10mm spacer. You don't want to go too much because again, you want to be able to have the lug nuts on the you know, the actual lugs themselves and really be tight on there. You don't want to have it where it's barely screwing on, and then you can have all kinds of issues and ripping off lugs and stuff like that. So a lot to consider. Like I said, no vibrations. I'm doing about 40 to 60 on and off. It just feels really good, guys. Like legitimately, I'm so impressed. I'm so happy how far this truck has gone and is going. Literally, we had it for about 3 weeks and it's already, you know what, 600 wheel horsepower. It's already lowered. It's got a lot of work done to it, aftermarket headlight, things like that to make it look a lot better. We're ramping this up, guys. Like the season is almost here for racing. I don't want to miss any of it. I want to have as much practice in as possible with the full belt setup before, you know, it's time to really go out there and show what we can do. So I don't want to, you know, be starting the season late and then finally get my practice in and realizing there's nothing left to do or nobody left to race. There's always going to be people to race, but you know, like to actual events and stuff like that, I'm excited to do it. Yes, we'll spend a little bit of money on it, I'm not going to lie, but it's so worth it in my opinion. To see the bead locks on there, to see the welds up front as well, like that picture, I'm gonna post it up here again, guys, just so you see how sexy this truck looks. And I cannot wait to get it back from the shop and to put them on and to actually be able to use them and hopefully have traction and put down some stupid numbers. Because again, right now we're aiming for 1,000 horsepower, probably at crank, so about 950 wheel. And then after that, we will focus on running the 8s and a quarter. Hopefully it gets us in the 9s doing 1,000 wheel, but we'll see it, guys. But I'm so excited. Let's get back and finish this video. All right, guys, and we're back. So we're gonna keep this outro as clean, as short and sweet as possible. All I'm gonna say, guys, is again, Will City Motors. Here's another thing about them that while I was driving, I was thinking about. I did not buy everything I needed to make the suspension work. So I forgot with the wells that you have different lug nuts that you need. I completely forgot about those. This truck came to me already leveled out, so the rear springs were shorter. There were some brackets that were missing. Any other shop would have been like, hey man, you don't have everything to do this job, so we're gonna take this off, just come back whenever you have it. No, not Jeff at Will City. He was like, dude, we're gonna figure this out. So he called multiple dealerships to get the correct springs, the longest ones that they have that you're supposed to have on here, not the short ones. He found the brackets at a junkyard or somewhere. I mean, he literally took care of me, guys. So seriously, I'm gonna post a link to him. They know what they're talking about, suspension wise, performance wise. They do it all. This truck is just something else, man. It's on another level. I am super excited to see what happens when we get it back from the shop. We're also having an LSD put in. There's so many more goodies that came. I don't want to reveal the full amount of thousands of dollars that are spent on this truck already, because my wife doesn't know. She doesn't need to know until we reveal it to you guys as well. But as of now, guys, just know that we're just getting started. But there's a lot of eyes on this truck, a lot of eyes on me and on this channel to make the numbers that I'm saying I'm going to do, 8s and a quarter, happen. I'm getting already quotes for built motors, built transmission, because I know what's going to happen. So I'd rather be ready and prepared. So when it does blow, we swap them out. We're not sitting months waiting for an engine or transmission. So I'm working on it, guys. I legit want to bring the best content to you. I want you guys to be happy. I want you guys to be just excited as me and to enjoy everything that's going to be happening. But you know, it just takes a while to build the truck. I want it to do the things we want it to do instead of being a work truck like it's meant to be. So it just takes a little bit to adjust the way the truck works now and what it's going to do. But without further ado, guys, thank you so freaking much for watching. Thank you so much for subbing. If you like what you're seeing, drop a like, drop a comment. Enjoy your lives, enjoy your trucks, your cars, just enjoy everything, man. And just be looking out for some really good content coming in, just, I mean, every single video. So see you guys next one. Peace.